to our bonus episode of Into the Fray. I'm your host, Austin L. Gregory. This is our bonus episode this week to give you a bit of a break in content from our Galatians study. Today, we dive into the mind and life of Charlie Banks. Charlie is an incredible teenager who has really demonstrated well what it means to have a servant's heart in your local church, as well as through his podcast called the Young Minds Podcast, really cultivated a love for the everyday people who make up the local church. What I love about Charlie is his desire to get to know and share the stories of people who are not always behind the pulpit, but really make up the rest of the body of the church. And in this episode today, I just get to know where Charlie came from, his heart behind the different ministries he's involved in, and really just seek to encourage him on this journey he is on. If you have not done so yet, take a minute as you're listening and rate this podcast in your podcast feed, whether that's Apple or Spotify. Also, click the links in the description to follow our Facebook page and Instagram. Along with that, this is a podcast by the Bridge Church. Our goal is to provide resources for you on your walk with Jesus. So check out our website, also listed below. There we will have links to the podcast as well as some blog posts that we've been turning out consistently. Right now we have a 4-part series on hell on our blog right now. We cover the 4 differing views the church has on hell, and I gave my best effort to examine them, appreciate them, and help us develop a better view of hell that is more in line with Scripture. Along with that, thank you for listening. Enjoy this episode of Into the Fray with me, Austin L. Gregory, and our incredible guest today, Charlie Banks. All right, we're just going to roll into it, man.
Sweet.
So your youth pastor is Noah Blunt.
Yes, he is. Mm-hmm.
How long has he actually been your youth pastor?
Not long. Maybe a couple months. It's not been that long, honestly. I can't really remember. I think it was was it the new year that he started? I think it's been a while.
Yeah.
Because I remember when they started, when they were announcing that. Because they announced a few positions other than just a new youth pastor. Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be Noah. It's going to be Noah. And I knew it. It's like, there's his picture right there on the screen. And yeah. I was like, let's go. We're fixing to get a really good youth pastor. Not that Landon was not, because he was a great one. Yeah. But it was just something to be a fresh new face, to the youth pastor role. And I knew it would be great because, he's still in college and he knows what we're experiencing as high schoolers and middle schoolers because he just came out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's been a pleasure, to have him as a youth pastor.
Yeah. So how long did you have the other guy, or were you under the
as long because I've been at Northside for maybe about close to 2 years now. Okay. So it was maybe around maybe the first year I was there. So maybe about a year. I think he had been there for longer than that. Was there a difference in
the teaching styles?
Yeah.
What were those?
So one thing I noticed for sure with Landon was you go. He'll get really loud and then he'll go really quiet,
Yep.
And then with Noah, what I like is, he can make, say a book, we're going through Exodus right now. Mm-hmm. He can make those Old Testament books so interesting. Because some of the stuff you're just it's hard to understand, right? Yeah. But, he makes it so interesting and it's easy to understand. You're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Totally. I would not have gotten that if you didn't explain it. But, they are both great in their own ways. And Landon's actually gone on to be the Connections pastor now at Northside.
Okay, what does Connections pastor do?
So, because we're having so many people come in, the Lord's really using Northside to grow our church. And so we were we need somebody to, bring these new people in and welcome them. So that's what he's doing. He's handling all that. If you're a new member, you sign a card, whatever, and, you get connected with him, and he'll put you in a life group and get you where you needed to go into Northside. So you're not, confused.
Okay.
And where to go.
Nice. And so, all right. Is that your dad?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your dad. What's his name?
Chuck.
Yeah. He could have stayed in here.
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't
all
even think
good.
about that until after.
No, it's all good.
Let's talk about your family upbringing.
Uh-huh.
Now, if there's any question I ask that's off limits,
I got you.
We cut it, whatever.
Yeah.
I have a tendency to get really involved in people's personal life.
I'm good. Yeah.
But growing up, what was that like? I don't know,
Yeah.
What was your family upbringing like?
Well, I'll probably have to start, honestly, when it comes to family, probably start with the medical stuff when I was born. Let me tell you, that was something else, because I am not, my birth is not normal whatsoever. When I was supposed to be born in August, but I was born 3 months early in May.
Okay.
2 pounds, 13 ounces. I could have fit in the palm of your hand if you did your hands like this.
Yeah.
And I was, I had all these medical problems. I don't even know half of what they are. Just a shameless plug. You can go listen to my mom's episode on that, because she knows more about that stuff than I do. Of course she does, right? Being my mom.
Yeah.
And, it's so crazy to me. I had all this stuff wrong, supposedly, but then, they're like, the doctors are like, we see all this on his charts, but he's not showing any of it. Like, it's like, I've got this one chart, it's for another kid, and then there's your kid, and they don't match. It's like, see, that's the Lord right there. Like,
yeah, it's
crazy to me. Like, and it's just crazy to think the Lord's been there all this time, and he was helping me just get through my, being born, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it was insane. Like, I have a VP shunt back here, if you know what that is, that, keeps spinal fluid, like, flowing throughout my head. And I've actually got this tube that goes all the way down right here, and it stretches as I grow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of crazy stuff. But then, in terms of, like, family upbringing, I actually did not grow up in church.
Okay.
And it was kind of an interesting thing. My mom...
Your grandma, is she the one who invited you to Northside?
No, it's actually my friends.
Your friends?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep. But my grandma went first. Like, she had been gone for a while. And, my mom, she kept saying, like, for years, she's like, I'll take you if you want to go. But she never forced me, which is, I would say that's great. Don't force your kids into it. I mean, yes, get them there when they're really young, like, because you want to start them there. But say if they're like 6 years old, you don't want to force them into something. And at least in my personal opinion, you don't want to.
Yeah.
Let them take that decision on their own. And so, it just never happened. But then I had a friend, maybe I think it was like Halloween 2021, something like that, ironically. And he just was so open about his faith, and it blew me away. I was like, I've never heard a kid my age talk about this so openly. And, I was like, this is my way of having a relationship with Jesus, because I always wanted one. I believe so. I just didn't know how to start.
Yeah. And
then from there, I started talking with him, went to FCA, and then saved on Easter, and then baptized a week later.
Okay.
So, and then everything just happened from there.
Yeah. So your family didn't raise you in church?
Nope.
Now,
I would say they taught me some Christian values, though. Like, of course, don't curse, and, don't use the Lord's name in vain, all that stuff. Yeah. But I was not raised in church, no.
Okay. So did y'all have conversations growing up about, like, spirituality
not
or
really,
anything? No?
Nope.
Wow. Okay.
But now they're all over the place.
Yeah.
Now they're just like, commonplace.
Yeah.
Which is great.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
So FCA, what was that? I come from Lanier County.
Mm-hmm.
Our FCA was basically non-existent when I was in high school, and we were slowly trying to build it back up, but it was a huge mess. We never knew who was gonna take over the thing, and so that was our experience of FCA. Right. What was your experience? Because y'all have you go to Lowndes?
Yeah, I go to Lowndes, and so there's a lot of kids that go to FCA. And, it started in the Oxygen, which is kind of a smaller area, but then at least this year, I've seen a lot more kids show up to FCA, and it has been an absolute blessing to see all these kids, at 7:30 in the morning, worshiping and getting a word right before school starts. Noah sometimes show up to the huddles, which makes my day even better.
Yeah.
But it's just like, oh my gosh, there's all these kids at Lowndes. It's a good size of the auditorium, because we got moved into the theater, because we asked the principals. We were like, hey, we're having more people come in. We're starting to run out of room. Can we move our space into the PAC room, or the PAC? And she said, sure. And one, it's so much more comfortable because there's actual seats in there.
Yeah.
Two, it was so awesome just to move in there, because the sound's better and everything's better, so you're getting a better worship experience and word experience, and just all around better time with God,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a really good experience.
I started a Bible study when I was I think I was a freshman in high school, and started it stupid early in the morning. It was 5:30 or 6 a.m.
What?
because that was like the only time we could like figure out how to do it without it like interfering with homeroom and all this stuff.
Right.
And I was super shocked at how many kids would be willing to get up that early.
Really?
And do a Bible study. And I think about, like, one of the things, I think I talked to Noah about this too. I know I talked to Kobe Tomlinson about it, was we lower the standard of what it means to be a Christian. Mm-hmm. So we make it so easy that it doesn't challenge you in your life at all. Mm. My thought is, if you make it so easy, not that like there's one way to Jesus, that's like Jesus has done all the work so you don't have to.
Yeah.
That's true. But when it comes to actually living out that daily life with Jesus, it's hard work. Mm-hmm. Like, you taking up your cross isn't an easy thing. And I think that one of the traps we fall into in the West is that we make Christianity so easy that it has no impact on someone's life. And when we say things like, just read a verse a day, mm-hmm. it's like telling someone to go to the gym and just pick up a dumbbell and do one curl and then leave. Yeah. And it's like, okay, you could do that every day. That's not going to do anything to like your fitness. You actually have to challenge yourself for you to see any growth. Yeah. And I think with what was shocking to me about even the young kids we have in our youth group here is they're actually way more hungry for that challenge because they want to have a purpose in their life. Mm-hmm. I think when you're like, hey, just get up at whatever time y'all start, which is pretty early still. Yeah. Like, Sunday school ain't starting that early. No. And y'all are doing it right before school starts, where they're going to have a long, 8-hour day of midterms or, whatever is going on in dramas with the school or whatever. Yep. Y'all are saying, get up this early. We're going to start the day by worshiping. Mm-hmm. You're setting these kids up, I think, to be like, no, there's a purpose behind this, and it will have huge impacts on the rest of your life.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
But, I love that. Man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I'm trying to, I'm a part of the leadership team as well for FCA and trying to plan things. And I don't know when, but, Noah's going to probably be a part of speaking one day.
Nice.
He's got to be, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes to, because I can't help myself, I got to talk about him for a minute.
Yeah.
When it comes to Northside and just Noah in general, I actually worked with him for the summer.
Yeah.
When it comes, and I know we talked about internships a little bit, mine was a bit different because I'm technically not an employee because I can't drive yet. I'm working on that.
Okay.
But, so they still let me come on as the media specialist intern to kind of learn a little bit and see how, just the inner workings of the church work.
Yeah.
And, people say, oh, yeah, staff meetings are boring. No, not Northside staff meetings. No, those are fun. Because, you're sitting there getting to know everything up until, December. Cause this is back in August or, July, and we're talking about stuff in December. And it's like, I'm the only youth that knows what's going on. It's like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And, I just learned so much from him, how to learn to use InDesign and all how, the stuff works, with the technology in the back rooms. And, even, cleaning stuff out was fun just because I was doing it for, Northside and stuff. I think one day we cleaned out 4 closets or something. But, it was rewarding, though. We worked hard. I remember, too, there was a 12-hour workday we had. We fed the Bridgemen, one day because it was, for band camp or something.
Yeah.
And I remember, poor Noah, we had, because you can't drive the church van or whatever, because, you have to be 25, I think.
Okay.
And so instead of using the church van, we used his Jeep to carry, the food in there, and it was in tin pans, and I think some of the green beans are ripped, and so some of the juice got into his cushions of his Jeep, and his Jeep smelled like green beans for about a week. I was like, oh my gosh. And not to mention too, how much he poured into me was so awesome. I mean, he would come to my house every morning and pick me up. That's how much he wanted me to be there.
And you live in Lake Park.
Yeah, I live in Lake Park. And that meant so much. Not just for my parents, because they'd have to drive me there, and for the gas, but also just because that much he cared, and for me to learn, and I'm still helping him some. On Wednesdays and Thursdays I go up there and help him with the Next at Northside cards, just the little printouts.
Yeah.
And I'll still do that from time to time, and I'm just trying to help where I can. This fall break, I'm gonna be up there Monday and Tuesday, helping another pastor out with the fall festival stuff.
So let's get into that a little bit. Why it is. There's a lot of things very shocking about you. Of just like good shocking, but one of them is your servant's heart.
Yeah.
I grew up in church, and my parents, like when Jesus changed my dad's life specifically, had huge impacts on the rest of the family. Like suddenly we're all involved in church, and he instilled it in us. Like Sunday mornings, we're getting there before anyone else. Because we're going to set this place up. We're going to make sure donuts and coffee are ready.
Yep.
We're going to make sure that the plumbing works right for the baptism, because there's always issues with that for some reason. But if a light was out, he's on it before church even starts. Before church even has, like, the rest of the people have even woke up to start their day.
Yeah.
My dad has me at the church. We're making sure everything's ready. All throughout the week, that's what our lives was, is you go to school. After school, we're probably going to be at the church doing something, whether it's, my dad's preparing a lesson for the children's ministry, or, we're doing something with the youth ministry. We're just always involved. And so he instilled it in our family to have this servant's heart. One of the struggles we found at the Bridge, though, is the Bridge has a lot of people who have never been to church. They don't know what a tithe is. They don't know they don't even understand what baptism is. Even most people have a general idea of what baptism is. These people are like, I don't even, why are y'all dunking people?
Really?
Wow. In the middle of a service. There's a lot of things that we're having to teach our people, because they just never grew up in church. They don't know this lingo. And one of the things is the need to serve your local church. And you've been at Northside for 2 years, and yet you're one of the people who have stood out. Like, I'm not a part of Northside at all. I just know of things that are happening at Northside.
Yeah.
And you're one of the things that are happening at Northside is Charlie Banks is making a ton of noise. So why did you get so invested in your church? And you could be going to hang out with your friends after school or anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I just love it. It's partly the environment that the rest of the staff and all they create. And also just what you're doing is to serve the Lord. So why not? And also too, when it comes to just my life and stuff, I sit here and go, he gave me that chance to live. Yeah. Because he could have said no. It's fine. You don't. I don't want you here. He could have said that. I don't know what the plans were, right? Yeah. But he said, no, you're going to be on this earth, so I'm not going to waste that, right? And I'm going to work for him. And that's kind of my thought process behind it. And why not work in one of the best places? I'm biased, but ever, with some of the best staff. And, the person that's poured into me too is, Pastor Jeff Scoggins, because I work with Noah. And if I'm working with Noah, I'm working with Pastor Jeff too. He poured into me and was asking me, taking me to lunch and stuff. And, it's just asking me for my input, which meant a lot. It's because I'm here too, and he acknowledged that. It wasn't just I'm just sitting here. He was wanting me a part of the discussions when it came to the Christmas stuff and all this stuff and all that, and that meant a lot. It's it doesn't matter if I'm super young. Yeah, he still wants me a part of that discussion, and of course I work with Daniel as well. Yep. Being intern to intern, my gosh, he is the funniest guy in the world. I think on my podcast, because I just did my 50th episode yesterday, I went back and listened. He said he was the resident fun guy at Northside Baptist Church. Nice. But, some really funny people and really, amazing people. They just pour into you. And, they've all been extremely, extremally, wonderful. Yeah. They just, and it's funny now, they just expect me to be there. So I show up, hey, I'll, on Wednesdays and Thursdays I'll get buzzed in by Miss Brenna, and she's like, it's not, it's normal now. So I just show up, and they just are like, you're here now, okay. I think the only one that's oh, hey, what you doing? I think Pastor Robbie's the only one that kind of does that. But even now, he probably just expects it. Yeah. So, that's nice. I'm just around.
I think that's the key, though, is if you want to be plugged into your church, just be present. Yeah. Just show up. And, my story at the Bridge is I came here when I was in high school. My family, we had, there's a ton of things going on in the church I grew up in. Mm-hmm. And so we exited. my family went somewhere else. Me and my older sister, because she was old enough to like go to her own church.
Yeah.
She brought me to the bridge, and this was when the bridge was downtown in this like shack, basically.
Yeah.
Tons of safety hazards there, but I got plugged in there when I was in high school. Stayed there for like 2 years until I graduated, and after graduation, I went to like an old school like Reformed 1689 traditional Baptist church.
Oh boy!
So I went from like I don't know if you've seen our stage up here, the black walls. So in the downtown building, it was so like tight that there's no light getting in at all.
Yeah.
And it was dark. It felt like a bar most times because of the type of people we had coming and people serving. It was a lot of the ministry that's been done at the bridge has a lot to do with some rehab ministry that was going on in Nashville as well. So we had a ton of people from there. It was like edgy and dark, kind of like Cross Point, but probably a little bit more like rugged.
Yeah.
And I go from that to a church that's singing out of a hymn book. And it's like, now I grew up with some of the hymns, but it had been a while. And going from the bridge to that is culture shock.
Yeah. I've done that before, and because I went and me and my mom, we went and supported one of her members of her life group, Miles Hanning, because he was speaking at I think Old Platteville, and that's more of a traditional church. And they were singing out of the hymn book, and I was like, what in the world? Where's my screen at?
There was,
And I'm like, I was like so confused. I mean, because it'd been a while since I'd read music. I'm just now getting back into reading music because I'm in the choir now at Northside.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh my gosh, how do I read this? I was struggling. I was just kind of like mumbling the words, like.
I love that church. My friends still go there, and man, they are an incredible church. Just like me being the youngest person there, it was hard to connect with people because they're retiring, and I'm like,
you're like
starting my career,
yeah.
But there's incredible people there. It was just that crazy culture shock, and there wasn't even a guy who like actually knew music there. Like Ethan Parker is just now like there, and he's like classically trained, and he's like in theater, and he like tours the country doing shows and stuff like that. That's new. When I was there, we had a guy who couldn't keep a tune leading worship out of a hymn book, and so it was just that was the atmosphere. But after 2.5 years there, I was going through some like deconstruction, some things going on in my life, and find my way back to the bridge. And it was like God like calling me home of like, you shouldn't have left to begin with, but I had to let you like be arrogant and zealful and all this stuff and work some things out.
Free or white,
And I come back, and one of the things the bridge always struggled with was connection. Because again, like people, this church is a new concept for a lot of these people, and this is a church plant. So it's not, there's no traditions or anything. This is all, we're figuring it out as we go.
Yeah.
And one of the things they struggled with back then and even now was people just not welcoming. Like they might say hey to you at the door, but once you get in the sanctuary, you're on your own.
Yeah.
And you better
every man for himself.
Yeah. And me coming back to the bridge, I was like, man, what the heck is going, like, you guys know me at least. You could say like more than hey.
Yeah.
And when they didn't, it was like God challenged me. He's like, you want to get involved in this church again, just go and bug people. Like, go bother them to death. And so I just started giving my numbers out, taking people to coffee. A lot of the people thought, like, that I was coming across there, like, so, like, are you a youth pastor here? Or are you, like some leader here? I was like, no, I just came back, like, a week ago from a church I had been at for a couple years. I just wanted to get to know you.
That's fun. Wow.
Through that, though, and like showing up to everything, even I have nothing to do with the children's ministry here. I don't have kids. Especially then, I was single.
Yeah.
In my 20s, and I'm showing up to the children's functions just to, you need help with anything? Yep. You need ice like taken to the cooler? You need chairs set up? Like, this is all I can really contribute here. Like, I can't contribute a kid because, I'm single. But just doing whatever I can to show up constantly got me plugged into so many people's lives in the church and built so many connections That's one of the things I've really loved about your podcast I'm blanking on the name right now.
Young Minds Podcast.
Young Minds.
Yep.
I keep thinking of Sound Mind.
That's Cody.
Yeah. Because I'm seeing that pop up constantly. But Young Minds Podcast, the thing I love about that is you are how old are you? 17. 17-year-old.
Yep.
Who is radically getting involved in people's lives in the church. And you're even only been there for like 2 years. Mm-hmm. But you've built all these connections now, and you actually know people's stories is incredible, because I think sometimes the struggle church leaders will end up having is they get promoted to like a pastor or something like that, if we want to call that a promotion.
Yeah.
They get that job, and they start isolating themselves. Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing that happen with a lot of pastors, is they kind of go off to their office throughout the week, and they become like the celebrity that like is untouchable. And then what's cool about you is you're not the pastor.
Nope.
You're coming in and you're getting to know people in a way a lot of pastors would probably struggle with. Mm-hmm. And then you're recording and airing these conversations you're having with these people to where Noah could be like, yo, I don't know who this person is, which I'd probably find shocking because I know Noah.
Yeah, true. He knows everyone.
Yeah. But if Noah didn't know somebody, or a new member didn't know somebody, they could be like, I'm going to go to Charlie's podcast, look them up, get some information.
Yep.
We all do it. We all like look at someone's Facebook and be like, hey,
mm-hmm.
what's up with this
It'd
guy?
Be a less stalkerish way of doing it, yeah.
Yeah. And then what you've done is you created an opportunity for the people in your church to get to know the other people in your church mm-hmm. without having to do like the awkward work that we all have to do of, hey, what's your name? And then the person be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know?
Like, you know, and that's for sure. Like, and that's not just helped them, but it's also helped me too. Because sometimes I'll just like, this is the first time I've had a conversation with said person. Yeah. Like, I've maybe said like, hey to him or whatever, but like, that's it. And then I'll have these conversations, and I'm like, oh, I know you now. Great.
Yeah.
You know, so it's been awesome. It's been really, really cool.
What's been the hardest challenge of doing the podcast?
One of them would probably know like questions, of course, making sure they're appropriate for the person. And also, too, like with scheduling as well, you know, because people are so busy. Like, you know, one thing that shocked me was how easy it was to get Pastor Robbie on. You know, because, I mean, he is a busy man. Like, I mean, you know, and I got to talk with him right after a Wednesday night service. It was a 26-minute episode, and I was like, not everybody gets to sit down with the main pastor of your church for 26 minutes. I mean, you know, that was a really big deal. You know, and I've interviewed and it's telling you, I've honestly have had a harder time interviewing kids my age rather than adults, because we are so busy with school and stuff. Yep. It's nuts. I'm like, can you just like chill out, like have a chill day and take it on with me? Like, come on. Yeah. You know, there's also that, but also too, you know, making sure that I don't overstep things. You know, like if I try not to, like, if I know somebody's story ahead of time. Like, there was one that I just did, and it hasn't come out yet, but you know, I let her write the questions out, and then I just, you know, we just started talking about it because it was such a touchy testimony. I was like, let's just let you talk it. I know you want to do it, and I want to do it as well, but you know, so that way you know what the questions are, and so you're not nervous. Let's just, you know, and I just try to make people as comfortable as possible, because I know this is a scary thing. Like, you're telling your story. You know, so, I mean, I just want to make it as easy as possible for people, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
I love that.
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea. You let them write their own questions.
I mean, I usually don't, but, like, you know, I usually write the questions out. Yeah. Like, Noah's, I wrote them out. But, like, for one, I was like, yeah, I'll let you write them out because, you know, I mean, I want you to know what it is and be prepared.
So, how do you prepare for the people that you have? Like, this is your first time talking with them.
Yeah. So, I usually have a little bit of background. You know, I know where they say if they were like, you know, a choir member. Mm-hmm. I know that, so I'll kind of start that off as a base, you know. And, of course, there's always the youth questions I always ask. So, there's that right there. Yeah. And then, you know, I might say, like, you know, what's your job? How do you see God in it? And things like that. You know, simple questions like that. But then simple questions like that can spiral into just a full-on conversation. So sometimes I don't put that many questions on, you know, or whatever. Yeah. And it just happens. Like with Noah, though, I could probably sit there and talk for him for hours. Yeah. You know? He was so easy to talk to. I loved that. Mm-hmm. With Noah, what was
how long did you intern with him? Just the summer?
Just summer, yeah.
Okay, but you're still like working kind of with him, basically. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what was? Let's see. What is something about Noah that you think most people would be shocked by? As like he's a young pastor.
Yeah.
There's tons of like stereotypes with that. What do you think is like something that you really found that you admired about him?
There's so much stuff that people probably have noticed this already, but like his respect towards like Kirsten, that was something that stood out to me. Was like, you don't see that in relationships anymore.
Yeah.
Like, like she would ask him a question and he would just be like, yes ma'am. It does not matter how old they are. It just stood out to me. I was like, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I don't see this in like high school. You don't see that anymore. Another thing too was just his willingness to help people too. Yeah. Like if somebody said, hey, like I need your help, Noah, he would be right on it. That mean I'd be on it too because I'd be right behind him. But that was another thing too. I mean, he always is doing something. I think he practically lives at Northside. Like, shoot, I even looked at the like Google Earth. If you go down the street view on Northside, his Jeep is parked in the parking lot. But I mean, he just like, he's somebody that I think honestly, me and my friends and we've talked about it. We just really like. He's a really big influence in our life, and we just want to look up to him. Yeah. I do. Because I was like, honestly, I remember talking to him even before I got the role of the media specialist was, I want to shadow you. Like, is that something I can do? And he's like, maybe we can work something out. And then a few months later, somebody else got the role, and I was like, oh, darn, well, maybe it's just not, that's what the Lord wanted, so it's okay. Well, then a few months later, Pastor Jeff said, well, the role opened back up. And I was like, I'll take it. Yeah, let's do it. And then, so, there you go. And I was just so blown away by that. It just, and it's been so awesome to just keep helping him, really. Because I know that he needs youth pastor, and then you're a media specialist, and then a college student, you need some help, bro. Let me take some stuff off your plate. Yeah. And I've enjoyed every second of it. Really,
I love that, too. I don't know how much you are like watching YouTube, but one of the things
probably too much.
I'm with you. Me and my wife. That's all we did last night. Was watch YouTube. I think it was a guy named Eric. He was talking about how you build a connection with Mr. Beast. And he said the way you collaborate with any creator is you add value to them. And I thought that was interesting because I don't consider myself like we do the podcast, but it's like more like a hobby, fun thing for me to just like let out all my thoughts. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to church ministry, that's what I do think about it. Is if you want to build a connection with somebody in church, especially like you wanted to get close to Noah and learn from him. Yep. The way you do that is add value. Is like, hey Noah, you're doing a tons of things. How about I just like come alongside you and help you? Yeah. While you're like observing him, you're taking notes about how he handles ministry, how he handles conflict, how he even respects Kirsten. Yeah. Like you're gaining so much knowledge just by being around him that it's worth you having to like whether it's you taking out the trash in his office or helping him clear out the stuff on the computer, whatever it is. That's just I feel like that's a really good perspective on how to build those connections too. Is just especially if there's someone in the church like Noah who's super busy, find a way to make their life easier, and that be the way you. Yeah,
instead of just a media specialist, they should put me on staff as the all-round specialist. Like, I just help you whenever. One of the mental rules I've had for myself, I guess you could say, is like, because there's Masheri in the worship ministry. You have Masheri, Pastor Jeff, Daniel, and Noah. And one of the rules that I've kind of set for myself is help Masheri first, because she's like the mom of the office. If I, because I'm already on her good side, but I want to continue to be so. So I help her with anything first, like on a Wednesday or Thursday. And then I'll go jump in anything Noah wants me to do. It's just kind of like a thing that I do. So, it makes me feel good that I do that.
What's with the podcast? Yeah. What's your goals with it? Do you have any, or is it just like I want to just keep interviewing people at Northside, or are you like I know you have like you're part of some I don't know cohort collaboration or whatever with the like I don't even know what it's
called. On Fire Productions?
On Fire, yes.
Yeah,
But yeah, what's the goal with your podcast specifically, and then what's the purpose of collaborating with these other guys?
So, my podcast, honestly, it started because I saw, Cody do it from of Sound Mind, I was like, because I was friends with him, believe it or not, on TikTok. Okay. And then we met, and then he was doing this podcast thing. I was like, this looks fun, I'll support you, why not? And then I went on his podcast, and I had so much fun with it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. As I started my own, and then it exploded. I was like, what in the world? Because, it really took off after episode 15, which is Pastor Robbie's, because then it just diversed.
Yep.
But it really just blew me away of, what the Lord can do with a podcast like this. Because it's like now, it's been to, I think, 11 countries, around the world. And it's just nuts that my voice is being heard that far around.
Yeah.
And even if you can't understand me, hey, I would say, they're the goal of it. Just to help people, really, because I get, especially for youth today, there's so many temptations and everything, and if they can get some bit of good content, maybe just for, 15 minutes a day, why not? And why not I do it? Because, my friend Donovan, which he is from Call to Act, he said that, and this is for the On Fire stuff, he said that it's what it's going to be as a production company. That's why it's On Fire Productions, and he had a vision on his heart that, for years, you look at all this content, the kids are being shown, and it's not good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, he's like, the Lord told him, if you don't like it, do it yourself, make it yourself, and so that's what he's trying to do, along with us, is make Christian content and take over all mediums. But all of them have been a really big influence on just the podcast, helping me and figuring out what to do next, especially Cody and Donovan. They've been kind of like the podcast crew that I actually had both of them on at the same time in an episode. That was chaotic, but that was really fun.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm really excited to see where that's going to go, honestly.
I like that mindset of if you don't like it, do something about it. That's what Robbie tells some of the people at our churches. They're like, if they complain, he's like, oh, you want to make this place better? It sounds like God's calling you to do it. You should do that. That's incredible. So, with it's not called On Fire Productions.
Yeah.
So, how many of different podcasts do y'all have already?
So, it's a very diverse group of people. So you have me with a podcast, Donovan has a podcast, Cody has a podcast, Jesse Lucas has one. Antoine McGee has one, and then I think there's 3 other people that don't have podcasts, but they're music related.
Okay.
So you have
making worship music,
they're doing it like Christian hip hop, underground.
Nice.
Stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
cool.
It's not my thing, but hey, it's gonna reach people, so that's all that matters.
Yeah.
I think it's Jake, and then you got Chris, and then there's somebody else. There may not be anybody else. If there is, I feel really bad for leaving them out.
Yeah.
No, there may not be anybody else, but it's just this really cool group of people that we're trying to just make this happen, and all these ideas. My gosh, we had a meeting last month, and it was like, oh my gosh, all these ideas are gonna make my head explode. But they're all really, really good.
That is really cool.
And also have a nonprofit too, if you want to talk about that.
What's your nonprofit?
Operation Patriotism. It's to help first responders and just to support them, honestly, because if you remember in 2020, all that stuff that went down with them, I just felt so bad for them. I was like, let's help them out a little bit. And
yeah. So my in-laws are
they?
Both first responders. And, I don't come from a patriotic family. I don't come from even first respond. We have uncles and grandpas who are. Yeah. But my dad, he was a cabinet builder.
Yeah.
And my mom's a pharmacy technician, so we didn't grow up with any of that stuff. Mm-hmm. One of the interesting things about being married to a daughter of 2 first responders is the things you don't think about. I remember it wasn't this last hurricane. I think it was one maybe last year or something like that. Me and her talking and her being filled with anxiety because while I don't, if a storm happens, I'm going to sleep. I'm like, I guess it's an opportunity to take.
Whatever,
Yeah, because I'm like, I can't stop a tornado.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do? I'm just going to take a nap and hopefully it doesn't hit me. But my wife, it was different for her. Tornado happens, any type of storm happens, she knows her parents are getting called in.
Yep.
And she doesn't know when she's going to see them next. It might be days. And it was just this whole different life of, we don't probably realize, unless you're connected to someone who is a first responder, how much the family even goes through. Which is just, even whether it's like the cop issue or anything like that, there's so much anxiety and fear just for the people who are the loved ones of those people that they're having to go through. And that's a whole messy situation. I mean, Robbie's talked about it before, but there's definitely needs, I like the idea of you finding a way to speak life into that situation and care for those people, those families, and show them love. Because I think that's how that's how anything.
Yeah.
You help anything.
Yep.
Is you don't just sit back and you're like, you critique it or anything like that. Critiques are like valid, but you do something. Again, like what your dude said.
Yeah.
You see a problem, you fix it.
Yep.
And I think that's incredible, man.
And one thing that I kind of said was like, one benefit of becoming a little bit older is that you see these issues, but you can actually do something about it.
Yeah.
Like with being a teenager, you can actually get up and do something about it. Like you're not hopeless or whatever.
That was a question I did have prepared.
Yeah.
Was you being a teenager, you are no doubt sold out to Jesus.
Yeah.
There's no denying that. What is probably help me understand, because I work in youth ministry, but granted I'm working with middle school students. High school students are
completely different ball game. Yeah.
Very different ball game. They struggle. They're like, how I describe it is the middle school, why I love hanging out with them, is because they are so energetic still about life. They're pumped up. They're like, anything is awesome. High school, depression has hit, anxiety has hit, drama about girlfriends, boyfriends, all that stuff. They're just like way down. They're like, I can't even deal with it, dude. How, as a high school student, are you handling your faith and how it's impacted your life and consumed so much of your life? Like, what would you say is like the biggest temptation or struggle you're facing, or the people you know are facing that you're your age?
Yeah. At least for me, the two things would be like, if you go to public school, you're trying to, you don't want to like fit in, but also so you don't want to like laugh or say anything that like be like, oh Lord, but sometimes it's like, whoops, it slipped out or whatever.
Yeah.
There's that, and also too, like of course, like for guys, like the lustful thoughts, things like that. That's probably the two biggest. And the Lord still works for me on that, like every single day.
As a married guy, I'm with you.
But yeah, I would say for high schoolers, like in general, like guys and girls, probably like just trying to like figure out a way to follow your faith, but also go to these public schools and make friends, but also don't jeopardize your faith. That's a hard thing to do. Because I have plenty of friends who they're not Christians. But I'll tell you one thing though that's interesting is I'm preparing for this. I'll talk about it in a minute. Preparing for this really big episode, and I've been giving out like questionnaires from the students, and people have been asking questions to me about this, all because I've been handing out that paper, and I'm like, what would you look at that? Like, you don't know what will happen if you just do one little thing.
Yeah.
What questions am I getting answered or asked? So I would say these kids are very curious. You just got to start the conversation. Like, a lot of them are, and I've said that. Like, and I think Jesus Revolution, the film, hit on it pretty well. And it's the same way it was in the 70s to where it is now. These kids are looking in the wrong place, like they're searching, but they're looking in the wrong places.
Yeah.
Like they're looking into drugs and weed and stuff. No, you need to be looking at Jesus.
Yeah.
So that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. What do you think about, because we kind of hit on like YouTube. What do you see with probably more famous people your age? Are you encouraged by some of the influencers and people that are in the spotlight that like kids can look up to, or are you more discouraged and you're like, oh God?
I'm discouraged by that.
Yeah.
I mean, well, okay, so if you look at the Christian content creators, they're awesome. I love those, but like they're not getting as much spotlight as these worldly ones. I'm like, oh my gosh, like what are you doing? Like, and I won't like. One I can think off the top of my head is like Doja Cat. I don't know if you saw what she did, but like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Shocker. Well, actually, I'm not shocked by it, but what in the world, right? These kids are like looking at it, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
It's not good. Yeah. Like, it may feel good in the moment, but it's not going to be good years down the road. I promise.
Yeah. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, became a Christian. I had an incredible youth pastor, kind of similar to Noah, and that I just wanted to be around him.
Yeah.
Because it was so mind-blowing to me, as someone who grew up in church, that there was someone whose life really like looked like Jesus. Like this dude, he does a lot of the things you said Noah does for you. He'd come pick me up. He did an internship. He created an internship for me. He didn't even know what to do with me. Yeah. He was just like, just be around me.
It's like, just show up.
Yeah. And he taught me how to read my Bible, how to study theology. Like, he introduced me to so much incredible things. But one of the things I did struggle with throughout high school was discipline of reading your Bible.
Mm-hmm.
So are you struggling with reading your Bible?
Yeah.
What are things that you have found that helps? What are things that you're like, gotta still work on that?
Yeah, I mean, I still got to work on it. Yeah, for sure. Just because like you get caught up and you get busy, right?
Yeah.
And other things like that. And also, it's not that I don't want to read it. It's also like I've just never been like an avid reader. Like I'm not like, oh yeah, like I've never been just like, yeah, I'm gonna sit down and read something. If it's the Bible or not. So. But yeah, that's something I need to work on, definitely. One thing I've been doing, and this is something with the On Fire people, we've been doing a YouVersion devotional every week.
Nice.
So that's helped a little bit, but of course that's not the same as like diving into, the Word. That's something I definitely need to work on there. And it's like, it's funny because, I hear it all the time, like on these podcasts, like, dive into your Word, like, read the Bible. And it's like, why don't I do what they're saying? Like,
It's hard.
Yeah, it is.
I think you said it early on in this episode, like with Noah teaching through the book of Exodus.
Yeah.
He's making it like more accessible to you guys where you're at, this really ancient text. And I think that's something people, especially like Bible teachers in the West, we don't give enough credit towards when it comes to people struggling with reading the Bible. Is the Bible is not an easy book to just, you don't just open that up. I mean, some people it works for them. They just open it up, they put their finger down, they're like, verse of the day.
Oh yeah, I know what that is. Yeah.
But for most people, if you're really diligent and you're like, I really want to understand this book,
you got to really study it. Yeah.
You got to really study it. There's a process you got to go through. You can't just be like, okay, I'm just going to start reading Leviticus. You got to understand who wrote Leviticus, like why they wrote it. There's context you got to take in. I think that's something that we got to give a little bit more credit towards people who struggle reading their Bible. It's an ancient book. Like, no one says, go read Shakespeare every day and just understand it. It's like, no, if you're going to read Shakespeare, like, hey, we're going to give you some resources. We're going to give you, like, some summaries, how to understand how this language works because they talked differently back then. And I think it's the same with the Bible.
Yes.
It's
honestly, yeah.
Yeah. I was telling Berlin yesterday about how it is crazy that we tell people to go like read the Bible, but we don't tell them like about how to like understand context and how like the tools of how to read your Bible. And for a lot of people, if you've never read the Bible, you don't understand like the context it's actually built in. Like there's a whole world there. And it's in my mind, I was like, it's kind of like telling someone to go watch Avengers or like a Spider-Man movie. That person have no idea that there's comic books that these movies are pulling off of, and the comic book is completely different than the movie.
Yep.
And it's like we do the same thing with the Bible. Is we're like, go listen to the sermon or something, but like there's a whole book that this sermon came from, and the book is way different than even the sermon. Even like the best preachers, like we only can give you a glimpse of what like the beauty that's in the Bible.
Right.
Man.
Yeah.
So what is? Let's see. When you're talking to the other kids at your school about your faith in Jesus, what are some of the pushbacks that you're getting? That's not even correct grammar.
No.
What's the pushbacks
I get
you're
what
getting?
you mean, yeah.
And but then also, what's the thing that's encouraging you the most about that?
So, it's weird because it's kind of like a 50-50 a little bit at times, because there's one kid, and I'm not going to say his name, of course, but, sometimes I just gotta gotta leave it alone, because he just likes to argue,
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I haven't figured out a way to navigate around that yet, and help him understand, because it's like, if there's people that are, at least in my head, it's like, there's people that want to know and are asking questions, I'd rather go to them and tell them rather than argue with you and waste my time, because it's just like stop. Like, I'll gladly tell you what I believe, but you got to hear me out. Like, and instead of just saying, I'm like, hey, this is what I believe. If that's what you believe, yay, okay, good for you. But, so in that regard, it's a bit discouraging. However, the ones that I've been talking to, and this is in the same class, by the way, so you got one's arguing and the other's like, they're curious, but they were talking to me the other day, and I'm just telling them straight up the simple answers, I'm not making it fancy or nothing, and they're like, man, I've learned more from you than probably like if I walked into a church, they just, I guess, understand it because I'm putting it simple, because I know some churches, they try to make it fancy and all this stuff, and I'm like, people aren't going to get that.
Yeah.
Make it simple. Like, and that's what they say with like prayer, right? Don't make it fancy, make it simple.
Yeah.
Because, and that's what I try to do. It's like, because I know one thing, I'm not going to understand if it's fancy or not. So I might as well just, keep it simple, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Do you have any desire to do ministry? Like, go into ministry, like, as a pastor or missionary or anything?
I've thought about it. Of course, it's been in my head. But, as of right now, no. But, I'd rather stick with, like, the media stuff, because that's just been my stuff.
Yeah.
And that may be where it ends. I don't know. And just helping around, I have no idea. But, of course, that's what Noah did. He went on and, was the media specialist, and now he's a youth pastor. So, I won't say no, because I don't know what the Lord's going to do. But as of right now, no. But, I'm not saying I couldn't be like a motivational speaker or something. I've heard that people say that I could be that. And I'm like, yeah, if they'll let me, who knows, I might.
Have they started letting you do the announcements yet?
No, they need to. I cracked up when you said that. I cracked up so hard when you said that. I was like, oh my gosh, the next Jimmy Fallon? Like, what?
To wrap up this episode, man, seriously, you... Listening to, I haven't listened to every episode, but the episodes I have listened to, very encouraged by you, because you do have this energy towards you, and this, like, you're excited about the people in your church, and I love that, because with all the things that we could say that's wrong about the church right now, the fact that you're like, yeah, but let me show you, like, and uncover for you what's really going on, the beauty in these people's lives, what's really happening. I mean, the testimonies that you're sharing of people are, I would think, are breaking walls down so that people outside can listen to it and be like, oh, there is someone like me in the church. They're not all perfect, because we're not.
One thing that is like stood out is like some people, I've heard they've said, I don't want to come on because, my testimony is I grew up in church. That's encouraging to people. That doesn't happen as much anymor. Yeah. That's what people want to hear that. They're like, oh my gosh, people still grow up in church. Yeah. Yes, they do.
My buddy Kobe, he's a headmaster at Highland Christian Academy, and we recorded an episode and then we like scrapped it because we wanted to go a different direction with it. But it was about Christian education. And one of the things that me and my wife, we had kind of like the stereotype of, or like this misconception, was all kids in a Christian school are, they're just Christians. Why would I want my kids, the whole idea of Into the Fray is, I want my kids to be around people with different views and backgrounds and stuff like that, because that's who I am as a person. Like, if you came to our house and you looked at our bookshelf, you're going to see people who are on far right, far left on there. You're going to see some comedians. You're going to see some historians. You're going to see people who are gay or trans. That's just the bookshelf. That doesn't even like account for the people who are actually coming at the dinner table with us. And like we want to be surrounded by people who challenge our faith. Well, Kobe, he said this thing. He's like, yeah, the misconception is that everyone in that all those students are Christian. Mm-hmm. He said if you sent your kid to a Christian school, you would be shocked at how many of those students aren't Christian, because they have to work their own faith out. The only difference between a Christian school and a public school is at the hierarchy level, is the teachers and the staff are pouring a Christian worldview down instead of a worldly worldview. But the students are still the same from the public school to the Christian school. You might have a little bit more of an increase of like a Christian student body, but they're still struggling with the same things. They're still watching the same YouTubes, and it's also super encouraging with you about not only that you're shedding light on all these people's stories in your local church, but then the servant's heart as well. And I think you, even speaking to you for the last hour or so, you have an excitement that I love. And it's the reason I love working with the middle school, is because there's so much depression, anxiety in our world right now.
100%, yeah.
Me and my wife struggle with it. Most of the people in our lives struggle. Our pastor has came on here and he's talked about how he struggles with depression. And to have someone like you who, I don't think you're numb to any of that. You have your own struggles and your own temptations you're fighting and wrestling with, but the fact that you're still able to come through and be like, yo, God is awesome, I love my church family, and I'm going to build all these people up around me, and I'm going to add value to their lives. That's just super incredible, man.
Yeah. And, and for people that are listening that have come on the podcast, I just thank you so much for your time, because, that's not, you're taking time out of your day to come and talk to me. I mean, sometimes I wonder, it's like, what in the world, why you want to come talk to me? But I'm glad you did. I've had some people that are like, why me, right? And I'm like, well, everybody's got a story, know, and you never know what the Lord's going to do with it. So that's why I'm like, because somebody did ask me that. They were like, recently, why'd you pick me? And I'm like, well, you have a story, don't you? You're here at Northside for a reason. Yeah. So let's get you on. You know? And I'm really excited to see what's going to happen in the future. Like, Pastor Robbie just recently asked me, well, not recently, this has been something that's been in the works for a while. On November 1st, on a Wednesday night, I'm going to take over that Wednesday night, and we're doing a live episode in the sanctuary.
Oh, wow.
With Noah, Robbie, and Randy. And we're going to have questions ready, and the questions come from, those questionnaire sheets. Yeah. They come from kids at Lowndes, kids in the youth group, and adults at Northside. So they're coming from different groups of people. Yeah. And we're going to ask it, and it's about 45 minutes long, I'm really excited for it, and I'm also very nervous about it. But, hey.
So you're hosting it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be up on the stage at Northside hosting this thing. Maybe I can get Pastor Robbie to do hey, can you introduce it, and then I'll host it. Yeah,
but that's exciting, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on.
Of course, I enjoyed every second.